Hello and welcome to Sunday League Pundit Show, episode 29 now. So we're doing quite well. This week we have lots to talk about, lots of information, but a very, very special guest. One of our very good friends from JRI, which is the Junior Rangers Initiative. They do a lot of interviews, a lot of filming around Stafford Rangers Football Club. And they actually interviewed us when we went to Stafford Rangers home ground to watch Macclesfield play Stafford Rangers. A lot of our regular listeners will know that we've been there because we did a lot of recording around it and a lot of talking about it. So we've got Shane with us, who is a massive part of JRI, because I believe he started it.
I did, mate, yeah. It all started with a harebrained idea at the start of the season and then just escalated in the only way I know how, which is 100 miles an hour. And then within 3 weeks, we had 4 different lads that were all willing to jump on, and it's been an eventful season.
I would like to point out that the lads that he does it with are all young lads. They are all kids.
11 and 12 years old they are.
They're very...
hyperactive.
They are very hyperactive. But they're very, very likeable. When we went, they were interviewing not only the Stafford Rangers fans that were there, but also the Macclesfield fans. And the Mac fans honestly just took to them really well, because they were just... You just wanted to talk to them, didn't you? You were stood there going, oh, I hope I get interviewed.
Yeah,
I want
it's
to
been
talk to them. I want to know what they've got to say to us. And they were quite forthright with their opinions.
Yes.
They weren't
That's the way it should be. If you're a football
100%.
fan and you're paying your money to go in there and you've supported them for X amount of years, you should be entitled to an opinion. But when it comes to, because we're now part of the club properly, rather than last year we were just a fan, you have to still not talk shit about them. You know what I mean? You've got to try. You've got to try and be the supportive part of it, which can be frustrating at times, as I'm sure you're aware. Now you're doing all this and that. It can be frustrating trying to just rein them in a little bit without taking away the fun aspect of it. But it's been so rewarding this year. We've had such a good laugh for it. We got nominated for the Grassroots Football Award after, I think that was about 8 or 9 months. We got nominated for that back in March, which was a massive achievement considering it's only our first year. But that could mean night out somewhere with a full suit on and stuff like that. So if I can get all 4 lads into that and get them up there on a stage just enjoying themselves, man, it's been absolutely phenomenal, and the response has been great.
I love it.
Yeah, it's good to have some positivity off the pitch, because obviously to stay enthusiastic, because we know that on the pitch hasn't been the best time.
Yes, there's always one. I know he's got his panties in a bunch because he hasn't watched a lot of good football today, and he's probably gonna on Friday. Is it your replay? Is it Friday?
Yeah, Friday we play.
So, on Friday, you're going to be even more disappointed when you get knocked out. But you had to mention about Rangers, and yes, we got relegated this year, but I'm trying to put a positive spin on it with the lads, because it's hard, and they've never been part of anything where the team's been relegated. So you've got to also try and keep them engaged with it. And my positive thought for it was, you go to all completely different grounds now. We've played in the NPL since, I think it's 2016. So yes, it's a step down, but we go to all different grounds. We meet new people, we meet new fans, we see new sites, and it's going to be just another little push to try, because I've already turned around and said I want us to have the best social media team of any non-league side. And I think we're going to accomplish that. We will get there eventually.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, it's the positivity in that. Because obviously, supporting Southampton, I've gone through a couple of relegations, so I know the feeling of how it goes and disappointments as it happens. And to have that is positive, and they want to continue doing it. And that's going to be great. Hopefully, the results get better. I mean, obviously, we live around Stafford area, so I look out for Stafford Rangers results. It's part of me FOTMOB notifications. I always get it on. I wanted you to stay up because it would have been nice to play Macclesfield again, and and go to the game. So
That's what I wanted. I wanted another Stafford Mac.
Another
Yeah.
Stafford Mac.
Yeah, because it's enjoyable for me because obviously Mac goes back years and years and years for me, and obviously I've lived in Stafford now. I've lived in there since 1999, so
Yeah.
Stafford's close to my heart as well. So I really didn't want to see Stafford go down myself, but you know, it's just one of them things. There's not much we can do about it.
No, it's done now.
The results just
It's
weren't
all
there.
been what's it. Well, I mean, there was calls at the start of the season for Matty Hill to be sacked straight away. Dave Cook came and watched us for like 3 or 4 games while when we were in the hiatus bit with our manager, and he came in, but like I think the rot was there. It was there and it hung around no matter how hard Dave Cook tried. So now it's the time to take a step back. Obviously, with non-league, you clear out all your players, you try and retain the ones that. Well, obviously, Dave will try and retain the ones that will make the good core strength of the squad, and then you could get new signings every single week in non-league because there's no transfer window or anything like that. So I'm excited to see what happens. Dave's gonna build his own side that he wants his image on. So I'm looking forward to it, and obviously working with all the lads, it's been a really good crack, man. Really enjoyed it.
We really enjoyed it on the Tuesday when we went to Stafford Rangers to watch Stafford v Mac, and like I say, we were stood there going, oh, we get asked a few questions, because I want to be part of your thing. Man. We were stood there thinking we want to be part of yours.
Yeah.
It's like, although you're doing it with the kids, you can see from what they're doing and how they're doing it. But it's not, you haven't said you're coming to do this. They want to be.
They want to do it. Yeah, but I mean the thing,
and they love it.
They do love it. They do love it. But like when you're 11 and 12, well, like they all sit and watch YouTube videos. They know all the names of these massive YouTubers. Oh yeah, this video got 1.7 million hits. Blah 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 blah.
That's the problem.
You put a microphone in front of them and tell them to do the same thing, they just clam up. And it's a bit hard trying to just open them up a little bit. My son, God bless him, he's one of the lads in it. And like the amount of times we've had arguments at home because I'm like, just show a bit of enthusiasm. All you have to do is just pretend it's a conversation. But as soon as a mic gets on him, he shuts down, and I'm like, just trying to give him a bit of a kick and get him there. So it's just going to take time, I think. Well, the more experience they get, the better off they're going to be.
The thing is, it's like they've got that. They haven't learned that whole fake it to make it thing.
No.
They don't understand that even if you're feeling one way or you're looking another, you have to fake that attitude of being positive, and you've got to fake that enthusiasm sometimes. It's like the same with work. I mean, we all work, so the kids never work. They've all been to school.
Yeah.
And if they sit there in school feeling like shit, they're going to sit feeling like shit. There's nothing you can do about it.
Well,
Whereas
at the
at
end
work-
on the Saturday, if you've had a shit week at school and you're really down in the dumps, you've got something to look forward to.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
for sure.
Yeah.
That's what football is, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
For a
mate.
lot of people.
Football is life.
It
I
is.
would like to say that I'm clipping that bit because that's the first time in 20 years I've known you that you've actually said that I work.
No, I don't work. I don't work. I fake it to make it. I pretend to work. I go there and I stand there.
Well, the thing with it is as well, like a lot of the kids that are watching YouTube and stuff like that, they're all American.
Yeah.
And they're all batshit crazy. You know what I mean? And like, and every time you see a Yank on camera, they're always, yeah, let's do this, blah 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 blah, and like they look at that and they think, oh yeah, that's great, but we're British.
That's too much for us.
Yeah, and you know what? though? When I saw you guys on getting interviewed, the one thing I loved was, and it is an American, but they had almost that Jerry Springer confrontation, but with like youthful
Exuberance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
Well,
just so
I-
like, we're just going to come and ask you the most awkward question we can, and you're going to like it.
Yeah.
What's your answer?
Like one of the things I've been trying to get into him, like when we started, it was all serious. I had to ask this question. Like I was writing all the questions down. They didn't have a clue what they were doing. And like gradually, as the months have gone on, and the more they do it, and I'm like, do you know what?
Go for it.
Take it away.
Yeah.
Do it. And I've said, listen, if you want to ask cheeky questions, do it. If you want to ask awkward questions, do it. But like, do it in your own way.
Yeah.
I think there was one time, I can't remember who we were playing, but we were at home, and when you go into Marston Road, opposite where the food truck is, you've got that big long wall, haven't you? The big long fence.
Yeah.
So I says to Jacob, one of the lads, I was like, well, why don't you just go down the line and get score predictions? And he says he put it to this one guy, and I can't, like I say, I can't remember the name of the team. I know it was an away fan. And he said, Jacob's like, what's your score prediction? And the guy went 3-1 to such and such. He says, Rangers going to have a really bad game. And Jacob just turned around and said, you're an idiot. Next guy. And I was like, do you know what? Yes, it's a bit nasty, but it's funny as fuck.
Yeah, absolutely.
And like people my age and guys like your age,
We can take it.
they would look at something like that and go, that's hilarious.
That's brilliant.
Kid mugs you off.
Yeah,
Right,
kid
it's
mugs you
hilarious.
off. But the thing is, if you're the other guy that's just been mugged off, you're like, shit.
I mean,
He did it with us, to be fair.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
did our
Mate,
predictions.
100%. I completely get on board with it.
I said, I think Matthew's going to win this 3-0 anyway.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's the youthful innocence
yeah.
that I think elevates.
But it's that cheekiness, and I love it.
Yeah, it
I mean,
is, it is.
one of my all-time favourite skits was. Did you watch Soccer AM way back?
Yeah, of course.
Did you see the one where Rocket had messed up and they made him stand in the street with a billboard?
Yeah,
saying,
yeah.
Rocket and all that. And then that woman comes up to her, starts having a go about all the Soccerettes, always beautiful young lady.
Yeah.
And he's like, look, I don't choose them. These are the girls that apply. And she went, oh. And he went, so, if you apply, you're going to... We're like, yeah. My name's Rocket and I'm a liar. It's like, he just mugged her off. And it's just the fact that it's that cheeky sort of, just mug them off, hit them in the face. And because they're kids, they just got that ability
they
to
get away with
do
it.
and get
They
away
get
with
away
it.
with it.
I think it's the
Love it.
fact as well as you can hear it in them that it's not one of them.
It's not malicious.
Because you will look at a lot of young kids today,
Yeah.
and you'll just think, Jesus Christ, where's your lip ring?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you can tell from the inflection and the way they talk that they're just there to have fun.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I mean. It's not malicious. There's no maliciousness in it. It is just complete fun.
Yeah.
And it's something that football
Oh, I love
Lax.
that.
requires.
Love
Yeah,
that.
that's it. It requires this fun
It's not
element
just
to get-
that as well. Like when you start going all serious, and after COVID, and the world's not the same.
Nah.
And everyone's pissed off. They don't like the governments.
Yeah.
Cost of living crisis, as well as just everyday life that gets on top of everyone. Like people need to chill the fuck out more, and relax more, and smile for God's sake.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's what I think this brings. Like you bring
Oh,
in.
definitely,
You're bringing laughter back. Like
Yeah.
all the comedians keep saying how the lifestyle's changed, man. You
Go
can't take the piss out of anyone. Why?
Yeah.
Mate, I don't believe there's anything in this world that you cannot take the piss out of.
100%.
Because at the end of the day, as long as you don't do it maliciously, and it's just a joke.
Yeah.
Like, it's designed to make you smile. Some people have the most twisted sense of humour. I'm one of them,
Yeah.
right?
Definitely one of them.
Like,
we all are, really.
honestly, I could make jokes about things that happened in my life that were horrible, and to me, it's fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To other people that are a bit more uppity,
Yeah.
they might take a what's it on it, but I'm like, just treat it as a joke. It's there to make you laugh. If it doesn't make you laugh, it's not for everyone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Move on.
So that's what we're trying to do with regards to media presence.
Yeah.
Because like Rangers media has not been the greatest over the last few years, and they know it.
Yeah.
So like I've expressed an interest in trying to take over this year, and I've had a couple of meetings already that are really positive. So hopefully, fingers crossed, our media presence next year for next season should be up there
Oh,
with the
yeah.
best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly what
100%.
you need, though. And I think what we're going to do is we're going to link your social medias
Yeah.
to this video, but we're also going to link them to shorts and other
Yeah,
videos that
mate,
we're doing.
let's do it. We'll
Because
come into some sort of partnership where.
honestly, we think it's really important
Yeah.
to try and help each other as well.
Well,
especially
not
if
just
you're-
that,
you're
but
local
like,
to us as well,
say
like,
for
you know.
example on match days, if we've got a match day at Rangers, like you lot come down, film something down there for you lot as well,
Mhm.
and get the boys involved.
That would
Absolutely.
be great.
We
We'll
do-
watch along.
We do quite often talk about lower league football
Yeah,
because
yeah.
my whole family's from Mac.
Yeah.
You know, I go to Mac, and obviously they've been right at the bottom
Our lads
recently.
have actually expressed an interest this year in doing our own podcast, and basically, like I turned around and said to him, I said, if you're going to do it, like do it like you boys have got here. Get everything set up. Don't script anything,
Mate, I'll
and
be
just
honest,
talk.
we started badly. We had 2 mics and a phone.
Yeah.
And the whole podcast
That's all
was
it needs to
done on
take.
just 2
Yeah, but
mics
that's
and a
all it
phone.
needs to take. Like
It's
you
only
have to,
recently we've
you have
started.
to start small and build.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Build, like you find different bits of equipment. Could this work? Okay, shit, it doesn't, but it's only cost me £4. You know what I mean? Things like that. There's been a few times this year where I've spent money on little bits of equipment. We tried using it, but then found something better.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
So it's just a process.
It
You've
is
just got to
trial and error.
work through it. And-
More error for us at the moment. though, I have to say.
Well, mate,
made
after
a few.
watching you trying to handle a laptop with them big sausage fingers, it's
I'd like to point out that we've been here about 25 minutes just while I set all this up, and it was a bit of a nightmare.
yeah. Even though you should be happy after watching Arsenal win.
It
1-0.
started
Yes.
with
What we-
not even turning the headphones on.
I think what we're going to do now.
Oh no,
is,
it started with not even turning the
Yeah,
volume thing
None
on,
of it,
Yeah.
none of
the
it was
mute,
turned on.
the
I'm wondering
mic
why
thing
there's no
on.
sound coming out. I haven't even plugged the sound card in. It was a bit of a nightmare.
Don't
I think
know.
what we're going to do now is, I've realised that intro was like 15 minutes long.
Yes.
However, I did want to specifically talk about JRI.
Yes.
So what we're going to do now is we're going to go to play the music, and then we're going to come back and talk a bit about Man United and Arsenal. So, play the music. Hello, and thank you for joining us this week on Sunday League Pundit Show. We're still joined by a very good friend, Shane from JRI Initiative. Again, we will link all their socials in our videos, and we will write it in for a little while and try
Yeah,
and tell
man.
you about it.
Yeah, let's do it.
But now we've spoken about that, we're going to move on to the Premier League, because we do also have
Just when I thought it was
decent
going to get
football
better,
teams. Although
it
if
just
you
went
had-
down the shitter again.
if you've had a conversation with Tim Rhodes, you'd realise that he doesn't think he supports a decent team at all. He's very negative, very angry.
Dirty
That's the
Leeds.
reason most people call him Angry Dave.
Yeah.
I only call him Tim Rhodes genuinely because he looks like a dog's bone, and he constantly kept breaking his ribs when we were playing football together. So that's how he got the name Tim Rhodes.
When was my positivity all year? I think I've been a bit negative
You were
throughout the
quite good
season.
when you went on your 23 game or 25 game unbeaten run. You were all right.
It
Well,
didn't
hang on.
help though, did it?
It was okay for the first 20. Then that last 5 or 6 started getting really negative. Oh, we're going to lose it now. We're going to lose it now.
I'll be honest. As soon as Ward Prowse went, I thought you're going down the shitter now.
Yeah.
But you've done quite well to even get where you are.
My
Did you lose
negativity.
Lavia as well, who's not even played this season?
Yeah, he's got injured. He's
He's a
not.
great player as
I
well.
don't think. What I couldn't believe is that Ward Prowse has played 50 games for West Ham.
Yeah.
Because he scored on his 50th game, and I was like, has he really played 50 games
Been
in,
that many
in
already.
one season?
Also
How
not.
much football have West Ham had to play?
Well, they did
3
Europe,
cups.
didn't they?
What's
They
nice,
were Europe,
nice. How
Europe, FA
important
Cups.
is he to West Ham already?
Yeah.
So how do you feel about it? Because we have, I'm not going to lie to you, we have our in-house Onana hater over in the corner who slags him off week in, week out. And I'm actually genuinely quite interested to have a real Man United
Is he going to be
fan.
pro or is he going to be con?
Onana
Place your bets.
is a banana because he always slips up.
I
I don't like
I think
him.
that just about, that's pretty much
He
your
is
thoughts on
he
that.
is absolutely dog shit, and I think it's criminal, absolutely criminal, that you've got the likes of David De Gea training with Aldridge.
Yeah.
It's absolutely criminal. That guy has won everything in football, everything,
Yep.
and he can't even get a club. I think it's a shambles, mate. I don't like him. I don't like him.
So I do have one quick question on that.
Yeah,
In pre-season,
right.
Leeds United were trying to offload Meslier for 40 million.
Yeah,
With 2 weeks to go, we brought in Carvalho. Things were looking like we're trying to move Meslier on. We dropped the price, the asking price, to 20 million. And Man United said they wouldn't sign him. They then spent 40 million on Onana. Would you, if you could, keep 20 million and have Meslier, or would you stick with Onana?
Oh shit, that's a good question. If he had the kind of season he had last year,
Yeah.
then 100% 20 million is an absolute snare. I'd stick with Onana.
Yeah.
I really would. I think, like, there's been glimmers of brilliance with Onana. Like today, you know what I mean? 3 one-handed, absolutely worldy saves in that game that were within 6 or 7 minutes. And there has been times where he's done that, but then there has been times where he's absolutely flopped.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I would like to put a very quick defence of Onana in right now, because as people listening to the podcast probably won't know, I'm not a big fan of David Raya, who's in that for Arsenal.
Really? I've never heard that. I've never heard you say a bad word against him.
And he is the best goalkeeper in the league because he's got the golden glove. But that's nothing to do.
Bollocks.
It's nothing to do with Raya, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So Onana being as bad as he's been, I don't think is all Onana. I think your defence is handicapping him.
Okay. Would you rather have Raya or Onana in your team?
Me,
Yeah.
genuinely,
Genuinely.
I'd take Onana in a heartbeat.
You're out of your fucking
With
mind.
our defence,
Oh, you want
Onana
Smack?
would look a lot better. You look at the goals that Raya has literally handed to opponents.
I also
It's
look at the
that's
goals Onana has handed to
Handed
opposition.
to opponents.
Here's the difference. Here's the difference. Right, let's just go. Both goalkeepers have given away 10 goals just to make the numbers easy.
Right, okay.
So they both just handed out 10 goals. Yeah. Raya's done that, having faced 30 shots. Onana's done it, having faced 130 shots.
Well, yeah, then you'd say.
I would take Onana
Yeah, well,
every day.
No.
of
yeah,
the
but you
week
see,
over
like
Raya.
this year,
Let's play Ramsdale just for the record.
you look at Onana and saying, yeah, he's a shit keeper, he fucks up too much. But is it something like he's the 3rd biggest keeper that has faced the most shots in the Premier League?
He is. He's still,
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's facing as many shots as Sheffield United.
Mate,
are.
yeah,
But he's
But
also
you
conceded
are-
more.
You
That's
are
my point.
Manchester United. How can you have such a poor defence that is facing that many shots?
Communication
Like,
issues.
I would look at that. If you say for example, you bring back Prime Ferdinand, and you put them two in front of
Onana would have
Onana,
the golden glove.
Onana would be a lot better.
I think he
If
has
he goes
major
up,
communication issues. I don't think he talks. There's no communication there. How many times have you
No,
seen him
no,
get the
no,
ball
no,
and
That's
say,
a good point.
and he
No,
doesn't
no,
know?
no, no, no.
Because we literally had this conversation
Yeah,
when the
we
game
did, yeah.
started. I said the problem with United's defence, hence Casemiro being 20 yards
Don't-
behind the rest of the
don't.
defenders for our goal, is it's not communication that's the problem.
It's lack of
listening.
It's lack of consistency
Nobody's
with the rotation.
Are you telling me that even us, we're Sunday league keepers, and if my defender didn't get out, I'd go out and punch him.
Oh
Because
mate,
I'd
yeah,
be really
yeah,
annoyed.
yeah, yeah. I
Onana was
played in keeper
screaming
for
at
years.
them. I
Yeah,
don't care. Onana's screaming at Casemiro there. Get out.
yeah.
He's just not
Do you know what?
listening.
Well, you see the thing with Casemiro. There's no denying he was without doubt one of the best central midfielders in the world. So at one
I'd
point
say. For a while.
The key word you used there was.
was
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Do I think he can do that now? Absolutely not. I think he went for the money. He was a marquee signing, if you want to call it that.
No, definitely.
100%.
Yeah, he was a marquee signing, and that was that.
So, on that note, would
Mhm.
you say that over the last 5 years, let's go with 5 years,
Yep.
Man United haven't really bought players for what was needed, but
Nope.
more for who they were,
Yeah.
the marquee, the image?
Yeah, 100%. And that is because of the hatred the Glazers have been getting. They're like, oh, let's fucking throw money at it,
Yeah.
and let's get this big name in, and everyone will be happy for another season.
Yeah. No.
And that's pretty much been the United way for the last 2-3 years.
Yeah, it's
Possibly
just
even
going on what
longer.
you say about Casemiro, that kind
Yeah.
of sums up, because I've always said recently, everyone's obviously Ten Hag out, but it's like around the exact same time, every year, no matter who it's been, Van Gaal, Mourinho, every single time the news literally has put out, they've lost the changing room, it's this, get them out. And I'm starting to think, is it Ten Hag that's the problem? Or is it this core of players who are in there who are the problem?
Well, we had this conversation,
We did.
right? I cannot see Ten Hag style of football.
No.
Right? So everyone's saying about Højlund.
Mhm.
Like, oh yeah, I personally like him. I think he's got a little bit to learn. But I think he will turn into a decent striker in the Premier
What is he,
League.
21?
21.
Yeah,
probably,
it's his
possibly
first
not
season,
even that.
in the Premiership.
Yeah.
And he's 21.
But, and this is the biggest but, doesn't get the service.
No, well, that's what we said a couple of weeks ago on one of the episodes where I did the stats into strikers, that he's just not being provided the chances.
No.
His shots on target are superb when he gets a chance,
Apart from today.
apart from today. But
He was faced with Williams.
you didn't really have a lot of
No. Well,
shots.
see, the thing is, right, he's a big, strong lad. He's great in the air. You know what I mean? He's okay with his feet, and his shooting accuracy, I'd say, is probably 75%.
Yeah.
Right?
Wasn't his first game against Arsenal?
Yeah.
In the first game.
Yeah, I think so.
He bullied Gabriel in that game.
Yeah.
He had him
Yeah.
in his pocket. I was worried, man, when he come on. Because he come on and I'm like, it's his first game in the Premier League. He's probably not going to really get it.
Yeah.
He bullied Gabriel in that first game. I thought, yeah, we're in trouble
Yeah.
because he's gonna do something a bit special here. But I believe again, the same way Onana's been held back by his defence.
Yeah.
I think Hoyland's been held back because
Lacking.
Garnacho, albeit I think
Yeah,
Garnacho
phenomenal.
is fantastic.
Phenomenal
I
talent.
think he's a bit too greedy. Rashford.
Yes, but
I don't think he's got the
okay.
final
You
passion anymore.
say he's a bit too greedy, but look at what he's facing. You know what I mean? Like during that Arsenal game, when you saw him running at 3 different players, every other step he was looking in the box trying to find someone there,
They're all still.
and there's no one there.
Nobody's running.
You know what I mean? If you haven't got anything on your right hand side to say, if I pass to them, they're going to score. Damn right, he'd go for it on his own.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
How many times did he try it today in the Arsenal game, where he was running and he was making Ben White look stupid at one point? You know what I mean?
Agree. I'm a big
And
fan of White.
he was making him look stupid, but it was always one touch too many, and someone was cutting in in front of him to steal the ball away. But if you've got nothing there to work with, how can you do anything else?
There was nothing to aim at, because
No.
we both looked at it and went, what the hell is he doing?
Yeah.
And then they showed the replay, and you could see him keep checking the area, and it sort of it zoomed out, and you saw the area. It's all Arsenal
Well,
players.
we said it when we were watching the game, and we saw him go on the attack, and we were like, oh, he's wasted an opportunity there.
Yeah.
And that was the one angle. And then we saw it from the other angle, and it was like, okay, he really is looking for the pass. And we also said, Sky TV's ruining football, but that was a moment where it was like, okay, Sky TV isn't ruining football, it's actually gave us a different perspective.
I have
Yeah.
a-
Because you see it from 2 angles, and it
Well,
changes the
It's
game.
it's not even 2 angles anymore. There's like 7 or 8 different cameras. 7 or 8 different cameras on the ball, on the player. You know what I mean? Like VAR. Let's not even get into that debate. But
That's about
how
it.
many angles can you get on VAR to see if it's offside? You would not have that if it wasn't for Sky Sports.
Today,
Yeah.
when I think that whole thing about the argument about Sky Sports, I actually have it. I want to go on to that in the second half because I've got a whole thing about
Yeah,
it.
we're going to get to
So,
break in a
yeah.
minute.
Well, I want to bring that back up because there was a point that I forgot to mention in our little conversation that I really want to bring back up.
Yeah.
And the main point is, they're saying that Sky Sports has killed the love for football. The Premier League is the reason Sky Sports exists, and I grew up in the period where the Premier League was new, and I didn't have Sky. It didn't kill my love for football.
Okay, in that case,
Yeah.
right, would you argue Sky Sports killed football or the Premier League killed football?
I think social media and phones and technology killed football.
Yes,
I think
but
Abramovich has killed
like,
football.
and I say this
Yeah,
all the
along with
time.
Saudi.
I don't agree with that, right?
I think it's
Because when you've got the likes of United, 80 million Harry Maguire, 90 million for Onana, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
none of that-
Anthony, who's a
No,
absolute
I
woeful.
understand your point, but that all started with Chelsea. Them ridiculous wages. Chelsea just come in with Abramovich and they went, okay, I'll pay you whatever you want for
What
your
was it?
striker.
Crespo,
And I'll-
Shevchenko,
Crespo,
Deco,
Deco, they're
Arjen Robben.
literally the
you know
best
what I
players
mean?
on the planet, and they were like, I don't care what I've got to pay,
Yeah.
and I don't care what wages you want. The higher their wages went, the higher Sky put
You
their
know what?
prices, because the more they had to pay
Yeah.
the Premier League to pay the players' wages. A wage cap in 2002 would have sorted a lot of this out.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I'm
could you
also gonna
introduce?
argue that.
You couldn't introduce a wage cap now.
Not now, it's too late.
Not a
Yeah,
chance.
but they're on about it, and
They're
they
trying.
voted in favour,
What's
aren't
the
they?
wage cap going to be? You're only allowed to pay them $1 million a week. What point is
No,
that?
it's all
It's
within your
stupid.
finances. So
Yeah, but
there
then
is
you
no-
go to
there is no
FFP.
But again, then you're only going to go to the point where you're just making City, Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool.
Yeah,
only
the
set
top
five
six, the
clubs
big
that are
six,
got
the big
picked
six.
on
And then you talk the big six, and then you're talking about the
Then they're just
breakaway
gonna climb and
Champions
climb and
League.
climb. Because if you've got a chance of signing somebody we want, and you go, well, our maximum is £100 a week. That's what we can give
Yeah.
you. And then Arsenal just come on and go, well,
Oh yeah, we'll do 200,
We'll give you
120, 130.
Well, he's instantly going to want money.
Yeah.
Because he's not a Saints fan. You want some top-class footballer, he's automatically going to come to us just because we can pay more than you and stay within
Well,
our
then,
sector.
then when you look at it like that, then all you boil it down to is player greed. They don't like players.
that's what football is.
Players now do not play for the club or the badge.
Are you
They
telling me?
play for their money.
Are you telling me De Bruyne is at City because he absolutely loves Man City?
Absolutely
Or is
not.
it because he's pulling in
I would say it's
£450
probably
a week?
because he's pulling in £400 a week.
You look at like Ben White. He
Insane.
does not care about football.
No.
He only
It's a
cares
job.
about money. It's a
That's a
job
job.
to him.
Yeah.
He will not go out there and
Same
watch
reason I go
football.
out and drive a truck. But
Yeah.
if
Right,
another
okay.
trucking company doubled my
Here's
money,
one.
I'd
Here's
go.
one for you then. Alan Smith leg break. Was it for you or for it was for
It
us?
was
wasn't
for
it?
you.
So
Great.
Alan Smith leg break. Would you see a player in today's game putting in a tackle like that and putting his body on the line?
No,
No.
not even close.
But that's the other part that's ruining football as well. It's the rules, because the rules were so simple before,
Yeah.
and they're trying to overcomplicate them.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
now they haven't got a clue
100%.
the interpretation of the rules anymore with the
100%.
introduction of VAR.
Yeah.
Right. I think what we're going to do at this point is we've got a lot to talk about with them particular and your VAR.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do is Shane's a very busy man and he has got things to do for
Yeah.
JRI. So thank you very much. for your
Thank
time.
you.
No worries, man. It's been a laugh.
Yeah.
Quite
I'd
enjoyed
love
it.
to have you back on.
I'll,
We've got things
yeah,
to time and what have you.
100%. I'll come back.
So what we're going to do is we're going to go to break now. Shane won't be back with us when he comes back, unfortunately, but he is very busy and sorting out. I will put all the links down. So yeah, we're going to go for a break. Thank you very much for joining.
It's all right, mate. No
Thank
worries.
you.
Thanks very
Thank
much.
you.
And
Enjoyed
we'll
it.
see you guys after the break. Hello, and welcome back to part 2 of the Sunday League Pundit Show, episode 29. As you can see, if you're on YouTube or TikTok or any of our other social medias on video, you'll see that Shane has now left us from the JRI initiative. We're very, very pleased that he joined us and really pleased that he was our first guest on the podcast. We've got a lot of time for Shane and his kids that do the JRI.
Of what they're doing.
It's genuinely really entertaining, and they are really good lads, and we do genuinely really appreciate what they do, and that's why we wanted to be a part of it, and we made sure that we were interviewed when we got down to watch the Macclesfield game. So again, we will link all their socials, and they are really good, and we would appreciate it if you went and showed them a bit of love, because they do put all their time and effort into it, and obviously they're not getting paid for it; they're doing it for the love of it. And yeah, so we would like to thank Shane for joining us. Hopefully, he will join us again at some point in the future. But who knows? We may have another guest on in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, it might be some fun as well.
Might be entertaining, but we will explain more about that in a couple of weeks. Just to keep you hanging, as we like to do. Right, so second half. You wanted to talk to us about VAR. You're going to have to just give me a second, so I'm going to have to pause it so I can sort that out. Yeah, sorry about that. We're just a little break. I had a bit of a leak in the gym, so I'm hoping it's not going to leak now, and then we'll try and get onto that later on. So yeah, what we're going to do is we're going to move on, and we're going to talk about VAR. We're going to talk about
Stuff and things.
Sky as well, because we did touch on the whole Sky. Have Sky Sports and Rupert Murdoch ruined the Premier League when they started? Have they helped? Have they hindered?
I love Sky Sports.
Have they made it more expensive? Have they made it more accessible or less accessible or more difficult or easier? Or?
Don't get me wrong, I'd love it to be cheaper, but
It is very
I do
expensive.
love it, and it is one of my most watched channels, so it's somewhat worth the money.
Okay, so this whole conversation came across from that post that I linked you guys to and sent you, and it basically reads: 16 to 24-year-olds aren't interested in football. When I was 15, I was watching Man United play Bayern Munich, Barcelona, Inter Milan, Juventus in the Champions League on ITV with 15 million others.
Yeah.
Sky took that away. If 16 to 24s aren't interested in it, it's because they've been declined access. Now, here's my issue. They're saying it's a lack of access to live football that is basically stopping people being interested. Now, we grew up in the 90s, and Sky Sports was the main contributor to the Premier League becoming the Premier League. We know this.
Yeah.
Have you read the David Dean story?
No, I've not.
So if you listen to David Dean's book, he goes deeply into how they made the Premier League, why they made the Premier League, and basically how the Premier League was designed to change football. And it did. And it did it all for the best. If you look at football in the 80s, 70s, 80s, it was not a profitable business. It was full of hooliganism. It was a mess. The Premier League really salvaged and won. And it has done wonders. Now, here's the thing. I remember some of the Premier League adverts. They used Queen and stuff to promote it.
Yeah.
And it was massive.
I remember that.
The only person in my family who had Sky Sports at this time was my uncle.
Okay.
And once in a blue moon, I would see a game. But my entire life was built on Match of the Day.
Yeah.
How
Yeah, I know. Probably.
Yeah.
It was mine.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, talking early Premier League years, you know, early 90s, I love football. I watched as much football as I could as possible. I did not have Sky Sports. I didn't even have Sky till I was about 16 or something like that.
So, they're saying that the reason that those people aren't interested in football is because of Sky Sports. Now, we've all come from an era where Sky Sports took over and none of us had it. I'm going to ask you a question, because I'm going to use my town, right? And I'm going to use it as an example. When I was a kid, by my parents, there was a football field, and that had 2 pitches where the goalposts were up pretty much the whole winter. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There was another pitch about a quarter of a mile away, and that had 4 sets of goalposts up. Yeah. There was another pitch 3/4 of a mile away that had 8 sets of pitches. 2 were rugby, 6 were football, all goalposts up. Right? And every day, when the sun was out, or no matter what, there was kids playing on those pitches.
Yeah.
Now, the pitch by my parents has no goalposts.
Or kids.
I say that's wrong. Actually, that's wrong. They have some wheelie out goalposts that certain coaching academies use. Okay? But you never see kids up there. Just dog
because you don't see kids anywhere anymore.
The ones a bit further away that had 4 pitches, there's only 2 pitches with goalposts now. And you see kids on them once in a blue moon, mainly when the local academy, like the local kids teams play.
Yeah.
There's no pub teams. Then the other pitch, where there was 8, including 2 rugby pitches, that is now the main hub for the kids academies and kids teams, and they only bring the goals out on match day. That's been reduced from 8 to 4. Another pitch that was further away is now a housing estate.
Mm-hmm.
And on none of these pitches do you see kids. So we've reduced the amount of pitch and football area that kids can have. But where are these kids? I'll tell you where they are. They're sat at home on the computers. They're sat at home on social media.
Mm-hmm.
They're not playing. It's not Sky that's killing football. It's social.
Technology.
It's technology. We're not.
PlayStation.
So
Xbox,
this whole
phones. 16
to 24-year-olds aren't interested in football anymore, and it's Sky Sports' fault. Where are you getting this information from?
No, they're interested in football because they're still watching it. The problem is they're not playing it because they'd rather sit on their arse,
and now
eating sweets, playing.
But I'm now going to ask you
FIFA.
the next question. I can't think of a single person I know that is interested in football that does not have Sky Sports. Can you tell me, honestly, that there is someone you know who loves football, loves watching football, and doesn't have Sky Sports, TNT, Amazon?
Yeah, because it's the only way you can watch it.
No, I know it's the only way, but what I'm saying is, in this day and age, the way we are,
everybody's got it.
Everybody's got it.
Yeah,
so how can they stand there saying that Sky has destroyed the youth football?
I will stand by the fact that I think football, and in some ways Sky, was ruined by the likes of Abramovich and City's takeover, because They just went out when Abramovich took over and spent all the money they needed to spend to get whatever player they wanted, because at the time there was no FFP. So they spent whatever they wanted, and then they're just like, well, to get you to play for Chelsea, we're just going to give you 300 grand a week.
Yeah.
And everyone else is on 30, 40 grand a week at the time.
That's what nearly made Leeds go bump. Trying to compete.
Because you were forced to try and compete with other teams that were then getting taken over by billionaires that got such a stupid amount of money that they were just throwing it. Because Abramovich, to begin with, Chelsea was just a bit of a giggle. I don't believe that. I do believe that Chelsea was in his heart towards the end, and he did start to genuinely love the club. But to begin with, it was just, I'm going to show you that money will win. And I'm going to come in and I'm going to throw all the cash at it that I need to in order to win Champions League.
Yeah, but
win the league, win an FA Cup.
Blackburn did the exact same thing.
Slightly different scale.
Yeah, but they still bought it. They poured money into it.
I agree with you, but my issue with Abramovich is the extent it went to. Because like Jack come in and he upped everything a bit.
Yeah.
Abramovich came in and he upped everything 80%.
Yeah.
Your wages now go from 30 grand a week to 100 grand a week. You're on 40 grand a week, I'll give you 120 grand a week. That's just ridiculous. Well, because there was no control over it, and then Sky, Chelsea were like, well, we need more money off Sky then because we need to pay our players, and now we're losing money every year and we don't want it. And Sky like, well, okay, but your subscription now goes from, I don't know, £12 a month to £20 a month. So if every person subscribing is going up £8 a month, they're all complaining about it, but now you want your team to compete with Chelsea. You want to go out and buy the best players, and you want to pay them the best wages. Well, that's how they did it. Sky were giving them billions of pounds to do it, to compete with Chelsea, and to compete with now Saudi and Qatar and everyone else that's bought into football.
Well, they voted, didn't they, on transfer and wage cap, which most clubs have voted in favour of a wage cap.
I think doing it on a percentage thing, I think is stupid.
Yeah, but it's got to be the same percentage for everybody. For me,
Yeah.
that say it's you've got Manchester City's budget. Yeah, they've earned more, but they'd have to say what is their budget.
It's still 80% of whatever their revenue is.
Yeah, but it can't be based on the club's revenue. It needs to be the same basis for
Does it
every
though?
single club.
Does
it should
though?
be.
Because, and we've been through this.
If they want to make it fair, they
We've
need
been through
to
this
reduce
before.
the big six.
Let's put it into figures that we'll understand, or scenarios that we'll understand. So let's say I went out and this podcast was making us, £10 million a year, right? And I went and bought Stafford Rangers, and they went, you have to go buy FFP, and I'd say, yeah, fair enough. This is what my business earns, because I would then have this podcast under the umbrella of Stafford Rangers, and I would say, okay, that's what my business earns a year. So I'm still head and shoulders above everyone else in Stafford's league, because my business earns millions of pounds a year. So I can spend millions of pounds on players and wages. You then can't come to me and say, that's not right because this is football. Because I'll go, no, it's not. Football's a business. And this is now part of my business. And my business earns millions. So you can't turn to City and say you can only spend 80% of what your club brings in, because they will put on the table, this is what my business runs. And when my business earns £10 billion a year, I'll just use 80% of that.
All I'd say is go in with a transfer figure and say, right, transfer budget, every team is now 200 million or whatever a reasonable amount is. I mean, that's not reasonable, but say it's 200 million. Every club can spend 200 million on transfers.
Yeah, but then you're going to get teams going bump. For example, like with Leeds, we bought players that we couldn't really afford, with wages we couldn't really afford, and then it just cost us in the end.
And this is a problem. There's no fair way of doing it.
To be fair, but if you turn around and say 80% of your money you can use on wages and transfers, that's fair. Because
is it?
Well, yeah, of course it. Just because you.
Right. So let's put that into figures again.
No, hang on.
Let's see if
Just
it's
hear me
still
out,
fair.
right? 80% means that is within your financial constraints.
Understand that.
That is completely within.
Yep,
It stops teams. I'm going to use Luton, for example. I'm just going to use Luton. We all love Luton. So this isn't me being a malicious twat. This is just when they came up to the Premiership, they didn't spend 100 million to stay up. Leeds did, but they didn't.
Okay.
Right? Here's the difference. Leeds are now saying, oh, we need to lose 190 million because transfers and blah, blah, blah. That's probably true, but we also are offloading a lot of players. Luton aren't in that position because Luton don't have 100 million to spend when they came up. They just don't.
No, I understand that.
If they'd have done it, they would be in shit now.
Of course they would, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
okay, so let's put it into figures then.
Right.
So this is where I'm saying it's unfair, right? And there's no fair way of doing it. So I'm not like counter arguing it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying this is all bullshit because there's no fair way of doing it. So what you're saying is, I'm just going to put random figures on it because I've not seen anybody's books. So what you're saying is City can spend 200 million on transfers, and they can spend 40 million pound a year on wages. And then you look at Luton and go, you can spend 10 million pound on transfers, and you can have 600,000 pound a week on wages. How's that fair? That's just going to make a bigger divide between top and bottom.
Yeah.
There is no fair way of doing financial fair play.
Whereas if you put
unless
a
you
transfer
turn around to
cap
somebody and you say it's whatever your club earns, but then you're going to have all the owners going, it's not my club, it's my business.
But that's the point. That what they're saying is it is what the club revenue is.
They can't do that.
I know, but the fact of the matter is, big clubs, whether you do financial fair play or don't do financial fair play, big clubs will always have the upper hand. The only reason financial fair play is there, it's got fuck all to do with this word fair play. It's all about sustainability. It's all about keeping teams and clubs alive.
So why would that not change? Right. So I understand that then. So let's just say Ipswich are getting promoted.
Yep.
And I can't imagine Ipswich earn the same amount of revenue as Man City.
No, I do.
Now let's just say Ipswich get bought out. Well, now the club is in no worries about going bust. It's not going to go under. This guy's just signed a 10-year lease, say, for whatever, on Ipswich. Going to be there 10 years. I want to spend £200 million on this defender.
Right.
And now everyone's going to come in and go, no, because you don't earn enough.
No. What you got to remember is, when you purchase a club, that counts as part of your financial transactions for that season. That's why you get teams that get bought. I think it's like for 2 seasons, you can use your takeover revenue as a revenue because the club. So if you take the club as the item, and it's sold for 42 million, that club's just made 42 million.
No, I don't understand that.
Right. So if someone did come in and buy Ipswich, Premier League club, so let's say 200 million.
Not even close. We're probably talking 80.
No. Premiership now, definitely. I'd say a Premiership club now, you're looking big bucks.
I don't think it would be anywhere near that.
Really?
By Ipswich, no.
All right. Okay, so let's say 80. So they add 80 to the 100 million that they made for getting promoted. Obviously, they'd have to do some figure changing and stuff because they're going to get player wages, bonuses, blah, blah, blah. When they go up, they realistically look at the books and go, we've got 100 million to spend. Okay. Here's the problem. Next season, when they haven't got that additional boost of 40 million and they've only got the 80 million or 90 million of the Premiership money, this is no disrespect to Ipswich, but they do not have a fan base of the likes of Manchester United, Arsenal. And the problem you're going to have is it doesn't matter how much money they revenue in a one season or bulk, their sustainability is not there. So this is why it's there. It's there to stop teams going bump, and it's there to protect them, because if you allow them to willy-nilly just spend, you're going to have a Leeds.
No, and I understand that. I just think if somebody comes in with £10 billion and wants to spend £5 billion on his club, he's not going to be allowed because your club don't earn enough.
Yeah.
And
what happens if you transfer cap it and you say the most you can spend on a player is 50 million? That's it now. Yeah, but then 50 million is the most.
Players aren't going to get bought.
Why wouldn't you get bought?
Fine.
And
I
say
know what
the
you're
max,
on about. You're on about like worldwide,
yeah,
which
worldwide.
is never going to happen. We can only do it for the Premier League.
Or I know that's why it won't work. But then you've got your wages, and you go, okay, you can only spend 150 grand per week on a player.
Mm-hmm.
Then if that went worldwide, then
they need a universal.
It would
cap,
be
really.
kind of.
You're never going to get it.
You're never going to get it.
Because look at Barcelona and Real Madrid. How much debt are they in? But they get away with it.
Billions.
They get away with it because they just don't care.
But where the players going to go? Where the players going to go? Where you say, okay, I'm the best player in the world. the most I can earn is 150,000. I can
Yeah,
play
but-
for whichever team I want, and I'm going to get that wage, and you know full well. So then your sustainability comes the fact that
It's a great idea.
It's a great idea, but
It's a great idea. But in
yeah,
theory, it's
in
an
theory,
amazing
but
idea.
this is the communism
but
theory.
it won't.
It's
work.
great on paper.
Yeah,
But if
in
I was
practice-
in practice, so for example, if they turn around now and say everybody in the UK will earn this amount, right? How many doctors or people that are above that cap are going to turn around and go, "You fucking what? I'm off," and they'll piss off straight away.
Yeah.
And you try that with anything, and people will be like, "All right, fuck you then." And what will start happening is, because there's this player wage cap, sorry, you'll start getting players who are worth 75 grand a week earning 150 grand a week, because they'll go, "Oh,
Yeah, but you get that now. You get players
No,
that are worth
no,
£8
no,
million
no,
pounds
no,
that are getting
but-
bought for 40.
yeah." But what I'm saying is, when your players that were earning 300 grand a week have to get forced down, so they're losing half the wage, they're like, "Oh, fuck." Now all of a sudden, everyone else will go, "Oh well, there's a cap, there's a limit. I'm going to go to it." It's like the power, the Scottish Power and all them. When every time the government moves the price cap on gas, they immediately go straight to the cap, because they're greedy fuckers and they want the absolute most that they can get.
But this is what I'm saying. I
that's what's gonna
don't think there's any fair
You just
way of doing it.
immediate. But what I'm saying is, if you put that kind of cap in, everybody's going to go to the cap, no matter what. And it'll just throw everything.
I
It'll
agree
throw
with that
everything in
to a point.
disarray, and you just won't have. And you'll have players who'll be like, "Fuck that."
Yeah, I don't think
It won't
there's a
happen,
fair way of doing it.
unfortunately.
I really don't.
I do agree.
I don't
Like,
think there's any
there's
way of
all
doing it.
great ideas, but none of it'll ever work.
And that's a problem. Is that there's always going to be loopholes that are found as well, which is an issue.
Of course. So there is no solution, but the whole 80%, it's not financial fair play, and I hate when people use that term. It's sustainability. It's to stop clubs.
Well, they
going
changed the name of it now. It's literally called the something and say sustainability laws.
Yeah.
It's
Oh, there you
called
go.
now. It's not
I
even
think-
called financial fair play anymore.
I think the thing is, if Southampton get through in the playoffs, I think they still have to sell players for financial fair play.
They wouldn't surprise me.
Surely not.
Oh no.
Yeah.
No.
They get like 195 million.
Yeah,
or
yeah,
something
100 million
the
for winning. It's like 100 million plus for winning the
Yeah,
playoffs.
Yeah,
I
there's-
reckon if you won the playoffs, it would put you in the.
You'll be
bracket.
alright.
Yeah, but there's certain stuff where you've got to work towards financial fair play, which
Yeah,
is
I
why
think-
you've got the loan players and stuff,
I think
where
it'd be
we'd
okay
have
if you
to
won the
sell
playoffs.
to spend.
If you win the
Big
playoffs,
money.
you'll be
I
absolutely.
think winning the playoffs would sort you out. To be honest, I don't think it's something that your guys
I mean,
would have to
you got
worry
to
about.
think about this. It used to be called the £100 million game. That was about 8 years ago. It's probably worth about 150 now.
Oh yeah, easily.
Because you
yeah.
take
It
into
would-
the
it would sort you out
revenues,
financially.
yeah.
Like, I don't think Leeds would be in a position where they consider about anything if they won the playoffs. Because financially, it'd just be like, here's a massive bag of money. You might not be able to buy still, but the worries you had have be gone.
Like, obviously, one of our clubs is not going up this year.
Sad.
Who is going to have to? I mean, both of us might not go up, but it's going to be interesting for that club because we have such big budgets this year to try and get back up.
Don't you get more payment as well?
There's
Yeah,
a,
you've got
so the
parachute.
parachute payment.
Because the parachute
Well-
payment goes for about 3 years, doesn't it?
But it's a significant drop every time.
It is, but it's still more than the other guys in the championship.
Yeah,
again,
but
isn't
we're
it?
paying a lot towards wages and stuff. I think we're both
The only
quite
way-
high in, like we're second and third in the wages that we pay at like for Leicester
Greedy
at
players.
£20 million more in wages.
Yeah. So what you got to remember
That's
is
a
the
lot.
reason
So they've
parachute
bought
payments.
they bought the league in theory.
The parachute,
Effectively.
yeah, but parachute payments were put in because what was happening was teams that were getting relegated were getting smashed to bits because you were looking at wholesale. The
Yeah,
only
'cause
way
they were getting rid of like 60% of the squad, weren't they?
and the rest. It was Derby situation from Championship to League One. They had to get rid of everybody because they couldn't. There was no
Yeah,
stability.
they played their under 18s for a while, didn't they?
Yeah.
They were
So when they got
really screwed over.
sent down, there was absolutely their team was just obliterated. Trying to build yourself back up. It took Derby 2 seasons and they've done really well, but that's a good situation. Let's look at teams like,
Congrats on your promotion,
Yeah.
Derby. By the way, you
let's
earned
look
that.
at Oldham. Oldham used to be a Premier League club. Think about that.
They did, and Swindon.
Yeah, but what? Yeah, but Swindon is still a professional club. Oldham are no longer a professional
No,
team.
that's true.
So my point stands. So every time they've got relegated, their team's been smashed. They got relegated during the period before parachute payments and smashed their club to pieces. And then they got relegated again and again and again, and they fell very quickly. And in the last 20 years, they've become a non-professional club.
Well, look how long it's took Ipswich to get all the way back up.
Absolutely. So parachute payments are there for a reason, because the financial constraints between the EFL,
I think they're excessive,
and the Premier League are extortionate.
Yeah, but again, the say sustainability laws, I don't think it's going to make much difference. I think it's still going to put a bigger gap between the top of the Premier League and the bottom of the Premier League.
You know what's crazy? Last season, Ipswich played Forest Green Rovers. One team next season is going to be playing Premier League football. The other are playing non-league football.
Crazy, isn't it?
That's absolutely the divide of two teams that played each other last season, and they're in completely different.
I mean, I've got to be
status.
honest. As much as you're annoyed with the way it went this season, I would have to put Ipswich's gaffer down as manager of the season.
And he got it.
He did.
Yeah, absolutely. Very much so.
I haven't seen the results of the vote or anything, but he was just incredible.
I mean, I know the championship was wrapped
Leeds
up.
handed it to him towards the end.
No, we did.
The championship title was wrapped up before the last game of the season, but the relegation battle, 5 clubs could have gone down in the championship on the last game of the season. 5.
That's quite a lot, isn't it?
And you know what? The Premier League's already decided.
Yeah, but we went through this last week, and because I said Premier League's the best league in the world, Premier League's this, Premier League's that, Premier League's the other. Everyone wants to play in the Premier League. No, everyone wants to play in the top 6 in the Premier League because they know they're in no danger of doing anything other than earning an absolute fortune. The 3 teams that went up are going straight back down.
Well, I said this earlier to you, that Luton Town have gone down. We wanted them to stay up, but fairy tale. They are currently 24 points, I think it is, behind, or is it 24 or 14 behind?
I can have a look these days.
Yeah.
Because I've got access to my phone.
Behind Everton.
We can soon find out.
So we'll find out what it is.
I'll just go on Tottenham through the Arsenal result because they beat Man United.
It's 14. It's 14
It's
points.
14. So they're 14 points behind Everton, an Everton team that didn't win for 13 games. They've had 8 points deducted, and they're that far ahead of them. It's insane.
It's crazy, isn't it?
They're miles behind when you think about it. And Everton were considered in a relegation battle.
Okay, then that's fair enough. Go to the other end of the table then. City are going to win it 6 times out of 7.
I don't know that fully. I mean,
we know
you've
that
got to
100%.
think.
100%. We know City are going to win their 6th title, 4th in a row, and you're telling me the Premier League's the best.
Piss my pants if fucking they draw with Tottenham.
I know.
It's not going to look at Tottenham's results.
I mean, it's so great knowing that on Tuesday you're going to be a Tottenham fan.
Do you know the best part? And I did say this to you guys off air, but I'd like to put it on record. That I never thought this statement would come out of my mouth. Tottenham have the chance to win the league. No matter what happens in that game, because Tottenham can either win it for City or they can win it for Arsenal. But Tottenham have a chance to win the Premier League, just not for themselves. That's a great thought, isn't it?
I mean, at least going into the last game of the season, it is guaranteed that it is going to be going into the last game.
I mean, all you got to think is...
It will be going into the last
game.
And if Man City
whoever scores
Tottenham, going into that last game of the season, it will be on goal difference. And at the moment,
we've got 3.
Arsenal have got +3 on Man City.
We're +3.
So...
Man City could have easily spanked Tottenham by a load and just make it the draw possible.
It could be game over.
If Spurs are going to lose that game anyway and they're 3-0 down at half time, they might as well concede.
They'll just sit down.
10.
And I can see that, aren't they?
Just think about it, going into that last game, you've got Arsenal, Everton, they'll be on the beach because they've got nothing to play for.
Done.
West Ham, we've got a very
West Ham will be getting spanked by everyone lately and they'll be on the beach.
We've got a very good record against Everton.
Yeah.
It will just be who can score the most goals in the last game of the season.
But
well, no, the goals won't matter. If Tottenham draw,
Yeah.
That's what I
It
mean.
will be
He said if Tottenham
goal
draw
fest.
with
If Tottenham
City,
draw.
it's going to be a shootout between who can score the most.
That's gonna
That'd be great.
I'd love to go back to, I think it was 2003 when we beat Everton 7-0. That'd be great. If we could recreate that.
I'm sorry, I'm
amazing.
really looking forward
That'd
to
be
this
the
season.
perfect result, really. As a neutral, Tottenham drawing with Man City would be the best.
Do you know what?
scenario.
Do you know what I would really like? Is for us to win 1-0, City to win 4-0. We'd have the same points. Have they scored more than we have? I think we've scored more than them, haven't we?
No, because you've conceded the least, so they must have scored more.
Okay.
That's what it would go on.
It's all right. Yeah. So you scored 89.
Yeah.
They scored 91.
Oh, so it would go to them then on
Yeah.
goals scored.
Yeah.
So yeah, wouldn't want that at all.
Yeah.
But I just think it's really,
It's very
does,
close, isn't
it
it?
does
But-
lead to a very exciting
But
finish.
the also interesting point is as well, like we said on Tuesday, he's going to be supporting Spurs, but that will only happen when tomorrow night, I know, not for the purpose of those listening, but for us right now, tomorrow night he becomes a Liverpool fan. Because he needs Liverpool to beat Villa, so Tottenham are still in that Champions League potential. Because if Villa beat Liverpool, Tottenham have got nothing to play for.
No, I get that. I still.
As much as I know that we say it makes no difference,
I
Man
mean,
City are clear favourites for it,
They're meant to have pride, though. Let's look at that.
but you can't tell me that them players that are playing for Spurs care about the club and Arsenal not winning the league over them getting their bonuses for reaching Champions League football.
Yeah, I mean,
Because you're talking footballers
it's
here that
definitely
are
gonna
after money.
It's definitely going to make a difference. 100%, it will make a difference. I'm just not sure how much, because they've been shocking lately.
And City are now ruthless.
100%.
Yeah.
Because like they bring Haaland off to give him a rest. Alvarez comes on, scores within a couple of minutes.
I mean, can you believe that it was an interesting fact that I didn't know, and it was quite shocking, that no defender in Premier League history has scored a hat-trick.
No
Ever.
defender.
No defender has ever scored a hat-trick. And the player for Man City,
Gvardiol.
had 2 goals. They won a penalty. And Rodri, who was, I think, captain in Man City at the time, offered the penalty to him to make history, and he turned it. He said he didn't want it and gave it to Alvarez.
Wow.
Can you imagine if he'd have missed it there?
Yeah, you know where it was. He's thinking, I don't want this pressure.
Oh, 100%.
We were like 4-0 up at the time as well. It didn't matter.
Yeah,
if
but he probably
missed.
knew he was going to bottle it.
Yeah,
But I thought, wow, interesting.
I would have worried as well if that was me that it was off the 2.
But then we'll go with
interesting.
interesting other stats as it is. So, Rodri, since he last lost the game, Man United have lost 25 times now. It was 24, but they
Jesus.
lost today. So 25 times Man United have lost the game since Rodri last lost the game.
That's
and
insane,
then,
isn't it?
and then the other one that came up during the Southampton game earlier, Adam Armstrong scored 21 goals this season. Every single one of them was inside the box.
That's mental, that is, isn't it?
None of his goals
for-
are outside the box.
For anyone that's unsure why we didn't do a Jim Jam and the Statman Stat at the start, it's
We were
because
busy.
things were very different. We'd
Yeah.
got a guest, he was pushed for time, and I really wanted his. I wanted to be able to talk about JRI because I think it's really important. and I
Oh,
think
his
what
stuff
they do
is
well.
far more interesting than my stats.
And the thing is, as well, is we figured it would be more interesting for people listening to hear a different take and to hear something different and to have a different view and a different opinion and different things to talk about. So that's why we didn't Jim Jam the Statman thing. But he is still here and he has still got his stats.
And he threw one out there, or a
And
couple.
He managed to get a couple in there just to make sure that we were aware he's still on the ball. And
You
he's still
sent me
checking
one
it.
as well.
I did. I tagged you in a stat online because I wasn't sure what you wanted to use today.
Yeah.
So I thought, if I just tag him in this one, and he might say,
And it was like Sheffield United are going to concede the most goals ever in Premier League
the
history.
actual stat was they are the first team ever in Premier League history to concede over 100 goals because they've now conceded 101.
That's amazing.
So, hey. Well
I
done,
tell you
Sheffield
what.
United. You've got yourselves a record.
At least
this
there's one
season.
thing good for them fans. They could definitely see goals.
Definitely see goals. Can you imagine seeing 101 goals? Amazing.
Wow.
Amazing. And if you add the 6 they've scored as well, that's 107. That's amazing.
I mean, I know
Sorry,
that.
I'm sorry.
I'm sure that they go.
No, you're not.
I'm sure at the games, their fans must be chanting when it's like 0-0 and the opposition haven't scored. They're like,
How shit must you be?
yeah, you've only scored one. Because I know that we did it to Man City when we were losing like 4-0. We were like, how shit must we be?
No.
You've only scored 4 because we've just been
No.
battered by Man United 9-0.
When we were in
So
the
we were
championship,
like-
that was when we were in the championship in League One. That was like a really common chant. It was like if some team was only beating us like 2-0 in the 80th minute, we were just like, "How shit must you be?"
I remember scoring at the year we went down and we did, or when we were in a relegation fight. I don't think we went down that year. We were playing like Stoke and we'd gone on a massive run of games without like scoring a goal, and then Yoshida popped up and scored one, and we proper ripped into him because we'd actually scored a goal and celebrated like mad.
There is someone I would talk to you about.
Ooh.
Oh,
And I've just noticed by having a look down here. A guy that I really don't like at all is invested in your club.
oh,
Don't like
you don't like him?
Don't like Will Ferrell at all.
Love the bloke.
Find him irritating as crap. But he's invested in Leeds.
He says he's going to pump a
And
buttload of money into it as well.
to be fair, he's not the only celebrity to invest in Leeds. There's more.
Yeah.
But what I wanted to talk to you about is Liam Rosenior.
Okay.
Right now, what I found out, I didn't know this offhand, but what I found out is he signed a 3-year deal in December. Only December.
Yeah.
He was nominated for Manager of the Season.
Yeah.
And then got sacked.
Yeah, because he didn't make the playoffs.
I am struggling to get my head around that. He was only there in December.
Yeah.
So he hasn't even had the full season to get them in the playoffs.
No,
And as far as I'm aware,
he did
because
quite
they
well.
were managerless, I'm assuming their first few months weren't that great.
No.
So he's had to save them from not that great to being potential manager of the year, and that's not good enough. The next manager going into Hull is going to be like, I don't think so.
It's a whole Watford situation, isn't it? Because
Yeah,
they
it's
have about
incredible.
3 managers a year.
It
I'd
is.
be like, mate, I'm not
Hull
going
were
anywhere
really
near Hull.
good as well. They were playing some really nice football.
Oh, they spanked
And-
us.
Oh mate, they were. I was worried. I mean, don't get me wrong. When we played Hull last, it was quite a tight game until we scored, and then once we scored, it was sort of like bottles open.
Insane. I
But-
don't
Tell
get
you
it.
what, we
Players
made a
and
comment. Carval from Liverpool, who went to Carvalho, who
Yeah,
went
Cavani,
to Hull, and we were like, oh, he wouldn't get in our side. I tell you what a mistake that was. I think he would have made a world of difference for our team. I'd have rather had him over David Brooks and Rothwell.
I still like David Brooks, but he didn't exactly hit the ground running, did he?
Well,
Yeah,
let's
I'm
put it
still a
this
fan
way.
of him.
When we played Hull last at Ellen Road, we scored in the 9th minute. Cavalier equalised in the 34th. We won the game with a penalty in the 88th minute and a Dan James lob from the one from the halfway line
Yeah.
in the 90th plus 7 minute.
Yeah, it was one of them games you won 3-1, but it didn't justify
It
the
did not justify. And I also want to point
the
out
story.
that this was during our really good period. It was the last game we played before we went on the downward spiral.
Right. It's interesting.
Well, to
but-
tin, the spiral's still going.
Yeah, well, it is if you read the messages that he sends to us all the time.
I'm not.
you would,
Well, I was
you would
hoping
think Leeds are
today.
getting battered week in, week out.
I was hoping today we would have rekindled that form that got us where we were. What a shit game!
Yeah, it
So
wasn't
you
the greatest.
did rekindle the. Oh no.
I mean, I've watched 3 games of football today and I've only seen 1 goal.
That's pretty shocking, isn't it?
You know what though? There should have been
The
7 goals in
keepers
bag
were
against
so good.
Southampton.
Mate, there should have been about
but the thing is,
6 goals in the
He
Arsenal
made
United game.
mistakes. McCarthy made mistakes, and it goes to prove that we do need another goalkeeper. But but the way he played and he made some cracking
Really?
saves. What it says to me is how bad Bazunu is. I know I've said it for a
For a
number
while.
of weeks,
Yeah.
but he's come in and made some saves, and I actually got to the point where I was like the headed save. There's no way that Bazunu is saving that at all, and it's going in. And I'm now feeling like when we're playing, I'm like, okay, when the opposition shoot, he might actually save it. I'm nervous, but when it was Bazunu in net, I'm like, every time we have a shot, I'm like, oh, it's
You're
probably
like me
going to
with
go
Raya
in.
then.
Yeah.
The problem is even when Arsenal make a pass back, I'm sat there thinking, oh God, what's he going to do? Who's he going to give it to? How's he going to spoon it now?
Yeah.
And it's such a worry when it's your goalkeeper as well, because as we know from Raya when he made the mistake against Spurs, as a keeper, you're under more pressure not to make an error because your errors will be punished far, far more.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that West Brom didn't have their shooting boots on fully today, because
It did amaze me that game.
they were the
finished
better team. I'd say West Brom were much better than we were in that game.
I don't even know who was the better team in the Leeds Norwich game. It was that shit.
There wasn't one.
It was
Just two bang average teams that were scared of losing.
It was horrendous.
They were scared of losing, both of them.
I think
your
all four
difference
teams
is-
played that way.
Your difference is, both of you now, when you go into your next game, are you at home next?
Yeah,
Are you
we're
at
both
home?
at home.
So you're both at home next, and your advantage is you can't go into that game the same way you did today, because both teams go into it thinking everything is on this game now. Because you're not thinking, oh, if we go one down and it finishes, what about
It's a
the
one
next
game
leg?
shootout.
There is no next leg.
I mean, in
leg
all
now.
fairness, we possibly should have come out with a penalty. Well, we definitely should have. You've seen it. It is a blatant penalty.
Yeah.
It
in
was
the
a
sixth
penalty.
minute.
It was a penalty on Nonto.
Yeah.
There was a situation with Wilfred Nonto where he'd run into the box and he was in the box, and the Norwich defender, whose name I don't know,
I can't remember.
was tracking him into the box, and then as he got into the box, he put
It
his arm
started
on his shoulder.
before and continued into the box, which we know
And
does count
the
as a
attempt at the
penalty.
slide
The
tackle.
thing is he put his arm on his shoulder, but as he got into the box, you could see that he gripped his shirt and was pulling him down by the neck. So, I mean, it was a penalty.
But then the
There's-
ref
there's
did
no
make
two
some
ways about it.
strange choices.
he
I
made
mean,
a lot of strange choices.
I mean,
I didn't watch it. I
he
was
did
busy
some
gardening
good
today.
stuff. Like he was letting the game go. He wasn't throwing bookings
But you know
out
what's funny?
willy nilly, and it was quite nice. I know he made
He
that
was
mistake
later
but he
in,
was,
but at the start of the game, he doesn't give that foul on Anonto. But then down the other end, he gives 4 fouls to Norwich for minor shirt pulls. And when I say minor shirt pulls, I mean like you pinch the shirt at the waist and they fall over, and he gave that. So he's giving really soft shirt pulls and stuff down the other end, but he doesn't give that one in the penalty area.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true,
And it's
'cause that
like,
was a-
and that's when I
ball.
sent the message saying the referee is fucking dog shit.
Yeah.
'Cause even my dad's sitting there, and he's a Villa fan, and he's going, "What the fuck is going on?"
And even on
And-
the flip side, like I say, he's missing them, and
Yeah.
then all of a sudden it's like he Leeds pull the shirt back and holds him back, a Norwich breakaway, and he doesn't book it.
No.
Yeah.
And then 5 minutes later, Norwich pull back a Leeds on their breakaway, and he books him.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Yeah, it's fine.
so it did work both
I mean,
ways.
to be fair, he made one really good shout, and a player goes straight through Somerville. And I mean, there's no attempt on the ball. He just goes straight through the back of him, absolutely clatters him out.
Yeah.
But the ball runs to Rutter, and the ref goes, he looks at it, and he allows play on, and we got a corner from it.
Yeah, you
And
did.
then you could see him communicating with his assistant to find out which player did the offence and booked him.
Yeah.
And he got that absolutely bang on.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
was.
So
what
it
you
was
want,
really
isn't it?
weird because he was like a Jekyll and Hyde referee. He would make some absolute horrendous decisions, but then he'd make some really good ones, and it was very hard. And it's like, we scored. And when the flag went up, initially I looked and went, yeah, he's offside. But then they put it up on Sky Sports. They don't put it up on the highlights. And obviously when you're showing the highlights on your phone. But obviously when you're watching it on the TV, it's bigger. And they paused it. And even the commentator went, oh, hang on a minute, that's a bit contentious. And if you actually look, the player who literally raises his hand to say he's offside, his foot is in line.
Yeah, that's one of the issues. Not
And you're like-
VAR, isn't it?
Yeah. And it's like, I would like to see lines on that one. Maybe it was offside, but I'll tell you what, if it's offside, it's not as clear cut as you think.
No, it wasn't
because it's
close.
his foot. What you got to look at is, it looks like he's clear behind, but the player's foot, because he's running back towards goal, so his stride is into the position. Rutter's not moving, and he's got his back to goal. So he's stood jostling with the defender, who he's actually behind. But the player running back His foot looks to me like it could possibly play him on. And even the commentator went, oh, hang on a minute. And it's when you hear that, and this is what my argument about VAR. I know we haven't got it in the Championship, but there's been so many bad decisions against us this season where VAR would have given us goals, give us points, give us penalties. Yes, we've got lucky on a few. We got lucky on the one Leicester. I think we got lucky on another one against, I think it was Stoke. So there have been times where we have been the beneficiary of it. But I would say they are massively, massively over, like, 1 to, say, 12.
Yeah, I think what we're going to do is, because I've just looked at how long we've been recording, we're going to go into 3 parts tonight.
Oh.
Luckily, I've just moved back on the audio, so we can actually do it on there as well. So what I'm going to do is, we are going to finish very shortly, but I'm going to run through the predictions game.
Okay.
Because obviously, it's getting to the business end of the season for you two.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a very high scoring week again, you'll be pleased to know. So basically,
Jolly good.
Leeds Norwich was 0-0. West Brom Southampton was 0-0, very exciting games. And Man United Arsenal was 1-0. So we've had some very, very dull games today. Now, I said Leeds would be a draw. Jason said Leeds would be a draw, but we didn't get it exactly right. So there was only 2 points scored, one by me, one by Jay. Tin, Darryl, Jim Jam, and Max all got it wrong. So,
I'm actually glad I got it wrong.
yeah, because you said Norwich would win 1-0. Right, so West Brom Saints. Tin Ribs got a point for a draw, wrong score. You got a point for a draw, wrong score. Darryl got a point for a draw, wrong score. The other 3 of us went for a Saints win. So 3 points were scored total, which means 5 of us are on 1 point for the week. So we go into the Man United Arsenal game. I got correct result, wrong score. Tin, correct result, wrong score. Jim, correct result, wrong score. And the same for the other 3. So we all got Arsenal to win.
Yeah.
All got the wrong score. The worst one being Max, who said that Arsenal would win 5-1, which at
I
the
think
time
we all
thought
said
that
there were
was a
going to
bit
be
much.
goals on
We
all
did.
3
Yeah.
of them games, and how wrong were we?
I thought it'd be
How wrong were we?
close. I thought it'd be a close, hard-fought battle, but I thought there'd be goals.
Yeah, I
That's what I
thought
thought.
a draw. But we all thought, oh, yeah, draw, okay.
270 minutes worth of football, and we had 1 goal.
I know, shocking.
Albeit it was
Yeah.
decent, and it was Trossard, who should definitely be playing more often. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into next week, and we're going to go into all of our potential last games of the season. Although you two maybe both have another game left, that would be ideal for me. For you two to be in the final,
Yeah.
and then we have to do a watch along with
Well,
that
it's
game.
at 5 o'clock on the Sunday.
Then we would have to do a watch along, because that would be too good to miss. So what have we got here? We have got Leeds Norwich on Thursday at Leeds. So, Jim Jam.
I'm going to go 2-0 Leeds.
That's really optimistic when you think of how shite it was today. I am going to think, in comparison to today, I think there's going to be a lot of goals. So I'm going to go 1-0 Leeds.
Fucking goal glove.
And Tin Ribs.
I'm actually going to put my optimistic boots on.
Jesus Christ, I didn't know he had any.
For as bad as both teams were,
You must have just bought them today.
I think we'll win. But I think it's going to be 2-1. Because I think if we score, they are going to get hungry. And I think it will go 2-4. I don't think it's going to be as boring, because I think we'll have to go for it due to being at home. But if we do, I can see Norwich just going all out. And Josh Sargent is absolutely on fire.
Okay. So we've got you down for a 2-1. So we've got Saints v West Brom. Jim Jam.
I'm going to go 2-1 West Brom in the hopes that I want to be really wrong. But if we're going to get knocked out of playoff, I want a point.
Right. So, I mean, there's logic in there somewhere.
Yeah.
That's all I can say, is there's definitely logic somewhere. You just got to dig for it, people. You've got to dig for that logic, because it's there.
If we lose on penalties, I still want a point.
Piss off.
you're actually in the lead at the minute. So, all right, if it goes to penalties, who wins?
I'm still going West Brom because I want a point if we lose.
Okay, so you go West Brom. I'm assuming because you need the extra point, you're going to go to Southampton if they win on pens.
Absolutely.
So, even though...
That's only if he goes for a Saints win. If he hadn't backed them to win in the 90, he doesn't.
Yeah, he's going to, because you've gone for West Brom to win.
1-0 Saints.
1-0 Saints. So I knew he was going to, because he's desperate for the points off you. So he's going to want the 3 points on that, knowing you're going to get nothing. Right, okay, so if Saints win on pens, you'll get a bonus point, even though you will be wrong on the score. And again, you will get a bonus point, even though you'll be wrong on the score. Just to make it a little bit more interesting.
Just because there is going to be a winner on the day, and I want a point if I'm disappointed.
I can't believe that's even going to remotely cheer you up, but okay, we'll go with it anyway.
Hang on, this is the prick who likes to be in the Championship. I just want to put that out there.
No, this is the guy that wants to win the Championship, but stay there.
Yeah.
Insanity. But you both get a bonus point. I'm actually going to go 2-1 to Southampton.
You don't get a bonus point.
I don't want a bonus point. I'm okay with it. I'm not that greedy. Although now you've just said I don't, I might put it in, and if they do win on penalties, I'll just take the bonus point anyway. Right, so now we have Arsenal, who are desperate for a win on the last game of the season, because it's the only way we can win the league. If Man City struggle against Tottenham, which honestly I can't see happening. I can see that being an absolute walkover for City, the way Tottenham and City are playing at the moment. But I guess you never know. So, what we're going to do is, I'll go first, and I think Everton are shocking. I think they're on the beach. I think their season's over. I don't think they've got anything to play for other than pride, and the way they played this season, I don't think they've got a hell of a lot of that. So I'm going to go for 3-0 Arsenal. Jim? It's a really interesting part of the podcast, this, isn't it?
I know. I'm
He's
really
trying to add
struggling.
suspense, isn't he? That's
I'm
what it is.
really struggling to pick a score right now.
2 numbers. That's all I'm after. Unless you think it's going to be
It's
a
whatever
crazy
Arsenal,
game.
whatever he decides for Arsenal,
No.
0.
Everton are going to score 0. It's going to be Everton 0, but I've got two. I've got two
Is it
scores.
6 or is it 7? Is that what you're thinking?
No.
I think
He hasn't said 3 so far.
I think what's in his head is it 2-0 or is it 3-0?
No, it's not 3-0. It's either 2-0 or 4-0. I debate if Pickford is going to save if Arsenal can score
Mate,
4
what's
plus
going to happen is every time that ball goes near Pickford, he's going to catch it, roll over, lie down on the floor, and waste as much time as he can.
That's 100%
from the second minute.
He's
That's
guaranteed a
all
booking. Pickford is guaranteed a booking that last game of the season.
I'm going to go 4.
4-0.
You know what? Give yourself a bonus point if Pickford gets booked, because that is a good call.
Pickford's guaranteed to get booked because he's going to time waste that much. We'll go with Pickford booking.
Speaking of bookings, we've got something to talk about on bookings.
What, you booked your next holiday?
No.
He's
Just to
on
put
the
it out
no-fly
there.
list.
Yeah.
They don't trust him to go.
So
abroad.
once you've picked your score, I'll talk about it.
What was it you went with?
I went with Arsenal 3, Everton 0.
Yeah, well, I'm going to go 3 now as well.
You're going to go with 3-0 as well. And,
Okay, so I briefly mentioned bookings. So, how much do I really want Klopp to get booked against Villa? Because if those who don't know, if Klopp gets booked against Villa, he cannot be on the touchline for his final game as Liverpool
that would
manager.
be hilarious.
It would be brilliant. And I think that it is absolutely, because Liverpool are statistically out of the Premier League race. They can't do it no matter what happens.
Mm-hmm.
So there is absolutely no reason for Klopp to get booked. Because he can't argue any decisions, because it doesn't matter to them. They finish
But
third.
that's the problem with Klopp, is he can argue any decision he wants to.
So I think if Klopp gets booked, he's done it on purpose. because he wants to get banned and he wants the controversy to say that Premier League have
That's a big
ruined
shout, that
stuff.
is.
So if Klopp gets booked, I would say he has done that on purpose, just
Jim
to have
says-
controversy.
Klopp booking.
Intentional.
Intentional just to miss the last game.
Because obviously the other week he said that 12:30 kickoffs are a crime
Yeah. Yeah, but this is the guy, right? Where
for a team that had no more 12:30 kickoffs.
yeah, I just want to point out, Anfield
Well, he
somehow
certainly doesn't.
Anfield somehow got voted the Premier League team with the best atmosphere.
Absolute
Bollocks.
joke.
However, what makes me laugh is this is what the official thing said. Their own manager, Klopp, about 5 weeks ago said how shit the atmosphere was.
Yeah.
Your own
Criticised it.
manager is saying how
Complained about it.
shit your atmosphere is, complains and bitches about it, and then officially they've been voted the best fucking atmosphere.
Absolute
The
dog
only
shit.
reason the atmosphere is any good is because they play fucking crowd noise through the fucking amp speakers.
Absolute bullshit. I've been to Anfield.
It's
as well, so
good.
nobody
It's
can
good
say I
for
haven't
5
been
minutes
there.
while they play You'll Never Walk Alone at the start.
Yeah.
Which is the most irritating thing in the world, by the way. Because they say you'll never walk alone, but then they burn Gerrard shirts and criticise the players
Oh,
left, right, and centre, and they're constantly having to go at everybody. Absolute joke. Yeah. Anyway, I think what we're going to do now is we're on nearly an hour just for this half. Bearing in mind we did have a bit of the second half before we started getting rained on indoors. So we're going to wrap up this week. I'm probably going to put it in 3 parts, I think, to make it a little bit of an easier listen and an easier watch. And we shall see you lovely, lovely people next week.